So, hello from Greece. My name is Kokkonis. I'm a musicologist, associate professor at the University of Ioannina. Unfortunately, I was unable to be with you today. However, I would like to congratulate you for the conference and, of course, thank you for accepting our proposal. The research endeavor known as MELOS, that means in English audiovisual music Greek collections, encompasses musical collections from the University of Macedonia, Greek Macedonia I mean, the University of Ioannina and the Library of Greece of the Friends of Music Society in Athens. Through this initiative, we are utilizing an open source musical cultural management platform named Reasonable Graph, featuring a specialized music ontology based on internationally recognized conceptual models like the FRBR. The metadata from these three collections will converge to form an interconnected and open repository of knowledge within a national archive of musical entities, encompassing approximately 10,500 unique musical entities, including musical works, performances, records, individuals, institutions, events, and more. Cataloging the discography of a composer and performer in the realm of popular music, such as the Greek laiko, presents formidable challenges, particularly within the context of digital indexing of cataloging. As laiko, I mean here the folk popular, or if you want, the post-war continuation of pre-war rebetiko. This complexity arises not only from the limited information available on record labels, but also from the dearth of bibliographical sources analyzing popular music. Consequently, apart from the label information, scientific research becomes imperative, often following ethnographic research methodologies and that encompass interviews, discussions, meticulous observations, and material analysis. Vassilis Tsitsanis' discography, the central collection of our team at the University of Ioannina, spans from 1936 to 1983 and includes an estimated 553 original compositions. For a significant portion of these musical pieces, the composer recorded multiple versions, sometimes even 3 or 4 for each tune. These recordings were produced mostly in Athens, and additional recordings took place during concerts both in Greece and abroad, involving Greek and foreign artists. We are talking about a super extensive project with huge amount of information. As regards our discography collection, I can say with confidence that this is one of the most, let's say, analytical discographic platform in the world in terms of data, but mostly of metadata around historical recordings. So, in other words, we are not talking about mere data introduction, which in any case is important, but we are also talking about metadata that are created after either we listen to a recording, for example, the rhythmic pattern, the harmony, the modal structure, etc., or by studying primary or secondary sources, for example, the accounting books of Greek Columbia, the recording sheets of the sound engineers, an official catalog published by a company, etc., etc. I will now give the floor to Nikos Ordoulidis to continue our presentation.
Thanks, George. Well, we have designed our open source musical cultural management platform on three main axes. First, the musical work. Second, the recording or the recordings of the work. And thirdly, the manifestation, that is the release in the market of the recording. We must think of this as a pyramid that goes from top, that is from the musical work, to bottom, that is to several recordings and manifestations. In other words, the recordings are hanging down from a work, and the manifestations, that is the physical or in digital formal releases of the recordings, are hanging down from the recordings. Obviously, the platform supports multilingual content, as well as it can be customized in any way as regards its design. As you will see, we are talking about an interconnected community of information entities. Our project is still an ongoing project, and the final product will be delivered in both Greek and English. I should also mention the crucial filter tool. A user may ask whatever he or she wants from the platform, for example, to show recordings made in 1937 in Athens by a specific singer based on a specific rhythmic pattern, etc. I would like to present to you the fields included in each of the three axes. First, by selecting in the filter on the right, the platform shows all the musical works it includes. The title of the work appears above and below it in another language if we wish. Then follows the type of the particular entity, the title translated in Latin alphabet, the language of the work, the composer, and the collection to which the work belongs. Below the work hangs its recordings. Selecting one of these titles will take you to the page of that particular recording. Again, we see the title of the recording along with the main singer and in brackets the year it was recorded. This is so that a user can quickly figure out from the results page at the beginning which recording they are viewing before choosing to go into each tab. Below this is the entity type, the content type, the title, again transliterated in the Latin alphabet, the composer and the director of the orchestra. This information is derived both from the record label itself and from the accounting books of the company or the recording sheets. The language of the recording and whether it is a studio recording, a live recording, etc. This is followed by the place where the recording was made and the date of the recording. Below that, we have the names of the singers involved with a note whether they are the first, second, or third voice. Below are the names of the musicians who participated in the recording and the instruments they play. I should note here that you can see which of these elements are autonomous entities in the platform, for example, the composer. These are clickable links leading to a new page of that entity. For example, by selecting the name of the singer, we are taken to her page in the platform, where we can see information about her biography and links both within our platform and outside. For example, to Discogs, Wikipedia, etc. The graphs concern the contribution of one of the 5 research groups involved in our collaborative project, that of the Aristotle University, which uses specialized software to study the audio we provide them. Here, for example, we see the frequency range of the voice of this particular singer. Now, going back to the tab of our recording, after the names of the musicians, we see some of our musicological metadata, such as the tonality, if there is a taksim, a term used to describe a modal improvisation in folk repertoire of the broader region, the title of the recording company and the label for which the song was recorded, the matrix number and the license number. This is a special code found on the labels of records after 1937, when censorship was imposed by the then dictatorial government. It is followed by the duration of the recording and the lyrics. Below is perhaps some of our most complex musicological metadata concerning the musical analysis of the recording. On one side, the rhythm sub-tab, where one can see the time signature, the tempo, the associated dance, and the pattern description. Just below that, we have some additional graphs extracted by the Aristotle's team concerning the tempo variation of the piece. In the left sub-tab, we have the relevant harmonic and melodic analysis. In particular, chordal sequences, modulations, idiomatic behaviors of the melody, etc. Continuing to scroll through the recording tab, we provide the audio as an embedded player from YouTube. This idea by professor and team leader of the University of Ioannina team, George Kokkonis, allows us to avoid any copyright issues. However, based on the relevant legislation, it is given the possibility for someone to be able to listen to the recording of our own material within the university campus. Just below the audio of the recording, we see the field that includes the commercial releases of that recording. This forms the third axis in our pyramid, which we call manifestation. Selecting a manifestation takes us to each tab, where one can now initially see the labels of that release. Among other things, the research project also aims at crowdsourcing practices involving people relevant to the field, such as collectors. I should mention here the important contribution of the Kounadis archive and of Leonardos and Panagiotis Kounadis, who provided us with the labels of the vast majority of Vassilis Tsitsanis' historical records. The fields that follow relate to the type of the manifestation, that is, whether it is released on a 78 or 45 RPM disc, the language of the release, and the issue number. This is followed by the number of physical media and the place of release. Finally, we have the title of the company and the recordings that this particular manifestation includes. Now Nikos will share his part.
Yes, I will make some closing remarks on some more technical issues regarding the platform that we have, my company is developing and we have utilized for the purposes of this project. Reasonable Graph tries to tackle some challenges that we find not only in musicology but in general in digital humanities. That is, first of all, the necessity to have complex metadata schemes in order to not impose restrictions on the kind of knowledge and the kind of information that the researcher wants to document and fill in the forms. So we have tackled this issue by implementing ontologies based on international standards like those proposed by the Federation of Library, the Association of Libraries, or the International Museum Association. And furthermore, and modeling the data on a graph. Furthermore, another major challenge is the fact that in most cases research data from different research teams or organizations are separated between among themselves. In a sense, they are not so easily reusable, or it's not easy to for one research team to base its work on the work that previous research teams have conducted. So have implemented some mechanisms and methodologies for collaborative documentation in a way that each team can have its own subset of data, but at the same time make use and extend and enrich the data provided by other teams. And doing so, we also tackle a third challenge, which is the preserving of responsibility, in a sense that in the context that we need to know which team or which individual, which researcher, what researcher input the every data set. So you can't end up with a bucket of data gathered by different teams and not knowing which team or who researcher is responsible for each piece of information. So this wraps up my more technical input. And if you want some more information on the project, these are some useful links that you can visit. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.